Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together. And if you gotta take it somewhere, you know? Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just gotta get it together. Get your shit together.
Who disrupts my coronation?
Everyone has been destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame's best party!
What's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geek, the flagship of stupidity, still piloted by me and my many first mates, XOs, and other people I've decided not to throw overboard. That's right. You are listening to the main show, such as it may be. It's a little bit late today because it is hot as hell, and that's just kind of the way it is. But I'm not alone as I trek through this unusually big news week. I'm joined by my co-host.
It's Ken from This Anime, and yeah, no, this was a butt ton of news. Like, I think we had at least 10 stories in the main top news.
And then even trying to get that trimmed down was like, so how do we comment on this? So yeah, we had to trim our news stories. So news may run a little long today. So just FYI, people, strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But as we most often do here on the show, we typically start off by, well, what's been going on during our past week. And this week for me, surprisingly quiet, actually. Not a whole hell of a lot happened. Played a lot of Call of Duty with my friends. This week, actually, two things happened. I got a new friend, which is awesome. And his name is Jay. He's a shark. My wife got these IKEA shelves because she wants me to display my action figures and pretty much go away. So she bought me this really cool cabinet. We still have to build it. And she wasn't looking. And she let me go shopping on the IKEA website. So yesterday, I posted a picture on my personal Facebook profile, so I haven't posted this out to Twitter. I got this little stuffed kitty from IKEA we've called Pickles, and I got this giant shark that's like 3.5 feet long or longer. It's huge, and I named it Jay for several reasons. When you stand the shark upright, it looks like the dancing shark from Ubisoft's press presentation a couple of years ago. And I had a friend who worked at Ubisoft for years. He was one of the most friendly PR reps I've ever known. And I've decided to name the shark after him. So he is Jay the Dancing Shark. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm actually going to post a picture of him at some point on social media. And then just before the show started, because I'm in a wheelchair, I can't get to the door by myself. I don't have my chair set up beside my bed so I can transfer. So I call my next door Liam over to help me out. And like, we're best friends. He's going to play Stargate with us whenever that gets off the ground. He's a good guy. So he comes over, brings in this package that's at my door. Great, cool. And I assume, okay, all right, I'll talk to you in a bit. Just because, he's doing some other stuff. So, but just before he leaves, he tells me he has this cat. You may have seen this posted on my Facebook recently, or not Facebook, on Twitter. I posted a video of Dr. Wiley playing with my iPad, and there's another kitty in that video. His name is Mim. Mim is this big 20-pound monster of a cat. Very, very, very friendly. He likes to quote unquote sing the song of his people a lot, and he's a good boy for the most part. However, just as my friend Liam tells me, just before he goes to bed last night, normally Mim likes to snuggle. So Liam is getting ready to go to bed. He's just settling in, and he looks down, and Liam has this expensive ass carpet or this rug on the floor because Liam's he's basically the Big Lebowski would be a good way to describe. He's the Big Lebowski with knives would be a good way to describe Liam, or the Mountain Man. So Mim takes this dump on the carpet, and Mim tries to snuggle. Liam looks at Mim. He's like, "You little shit!" Runs across the room. So Liam tells me this story this morning. And I looked at him like, so did that rug really bring the room together? And he's like, you fucking Lebowski'd me. I'm like, I know. He actually has the Big Lebowski sweater. We went out last Halloween to go to the store, and we kind of like dressed up, so to speak. I wore my Commander Shepard hoodie. He wore his complete Big Lebowski outfit. And I just found that remarkably fitting. So yeah, I've had a shark and cat shit. That is my week. What about you, Ken?
So this last week got a hold of the soundtrack, the actual physical CD, because I imported it from Japan. The soundtrack CD for Bell, which is Mamoru Hosoda's next feature, which should probably come out here in the West sometime later this year, maybe early next year. I'm hoping later this year. And that was already announced by G-Kids, like back right after it premiered in Japan. Like they were like, hey, we got the rights to it. It's coming, which I expected given the fact that Hosoda has already worked with G-Kids. So they have a past relationship. And yeah, the soundtrack is really, really good. It's also available on digital platforms. I just personally like to import the CD specifically because sometimes the Japanese CDs have very, very nice art with it. And indeed, it has a very, very nice piece of art with it. And the soundtrack's really good. I'm really looking forward to that film. It's probably my most anticipated film, like in terms of upcoming stuff. And then other than that, I played a shit ton of Hades.
Okay, I played my first roguelike for the first time this week. I think Alex put it out on the latest Turd or Treasure show, which is like
I heard
the length of your average movie. A
lot of reviews in that one.
If more roguelikes were like Jupiter Hell, I'd probably enjoy the genre more. You people are sadists who enjoy these games. My God, I get frustrated. I'm like, well, that was an hour and a half down the fucking drain. Let's try again.
The big thing with Hades is that it constantly is rewarding you, either through progression in terms of how you get stronger, or in terms of story. Like Hades is always about every single run, you're getting something out of it afterwards.
See, that's kind of what intrigues me about Hades, and the fact that it's on Xbox Live Game Pass, maybe I'll give it a whirl there.
Yeah, it's I will say the game is purposefully trying to kill you until you unlock all let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 weapons, I believe. Once you unlock all 6 weapons, then the game actually lets you progress. I mean, it's not impossible to progress without unlocking all the weapons, but the game purposefully is trying to kill you.
I don't know. Now you're turning me off.
However, every single time you do a run, you get story. You get a lot of story. You get a lot of get to meet all these characters and progress their story every single time you die. no matter what, that is your reward. You're going to progress the story forward. And then at some point, as you invest in yourself, quite literally, through darkness that you gain on your runs, you start to actually you start to see improvements, and you start to learn, okay, there's certain boons that I pick up that are good. There's certain ones that are absolute trash. So ignore those constantly. And then sometimes you find just an OP mixture, and you end up just like mowing through things and melting shit like butter.
Oh, all right. Now, there's something you mentioned, and I've got to go back to this because we talked about it in a Discord we're both a part of. And it breaks my heart, and I want someone to talk me out of finding a way to buy this because the price is insane. But I love it so much.
I mean, to be fair, it's already sold out. The Ultimate is already sold out.
Yeah, I guess
the next run is going to be in it was 10 days as of when they announced the Ultimate. So
now what the fuck are we talking about so the listeners know?
This is the first official Neon Genesis Evangelion release on Blu-ray in the West.
Yeah, this is a very pricey set. I want it mostly because I want the ADV dub. And there's several reasons for that. One, I used to be
my guess is that dub is also going to be part of the less expensive set that they're going to announce in T-minus a little over 6 days from now.
If they announce that set, that's what I'll go for. Because honestly, I hate the new dub, and I know, fight me, throw hands with whatever you want to do.
The problem with the new dub is that it has a new translation, and
it's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible. I'm sorry. It is nothing against the actors or actresses, but holy shit. Who the fuck directed this? Yeah, it's bad. And now,
I mean, even some of the voice actors have come out and said, yeah, I didn't really, it was badly directed.
Thank God I'm not alone in thinking that, because I remember when that dub first came out, everyone was praising it and wow. And I'm sure there was a certain reason to celebrate it, because the fact that it's on Netflix of all places is cool. We're a fact that we're getting some diversity in casting. Again, that's great and fantastic. I didn't like it. That's not my dub. That's not my Shinji. That's not my Asuka. That's not my Rei. That's not my Misato. That's not my Gendo. Everybody else, sure, why not? But no, just couldn't justify it. So when I saw this set announced, we did the math. And in Canada math, ouch, that hurt a lot. So
I mean, even in the US, I was kind of hesitant. I expected it to cost that, the Ultimate Edition to cost that much. I expected $300, somewhere in that ballpark. And yeah, it was in that ballpark. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't want all this tat that comes with it, though.
See, if I could get a cool Nerve ID badge like is offered in the collector's edition, I'll go to Etsy, honestly.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff, it's cool. I mean, Eva is one of the most merchandised anime of all time.
That's because Gainax has that and nothing else. That's literally all that Gainax lives off of is Eva merch.
You know what? It's strange. I would almost consider Eva to be Japan's Star Wars. And before you tear me apart for saying that,
actually, technically, yeah.
Okay. It's just because of the large amount of merch there is. One of the weird things about Star Wars merch from the 70s and 80s, there's this guy called Steve Sansweet, and he's still pretty much a very big person in the fandom, as far as I know, but I haven't checked in a couple of years. He used to collect everything Star Wars. I remember he had Star Wars dog food. Now, I know there is some weird Ava shit out there, and I've owned some weird Ava shit.
The Ava thing that I saw that I was really contemplating was they made a deal with some iframe manufacturer from Japan and made Ava themed eyeglass frames.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. I was like, that looks, and it was like, it was subtle. It's not like when it comes to merch, I like subtle shit. I don't like being plastered some stuff. Yeah. And then also like I didn't realize it, but one of the guys on another Discord that I talked to was really pumped for it. The art that came, like the art boards that came with that Ultimate Edition, that was all the art from the laser discs.
Huh.
So they reused all the Laserdisc art for the art boards that came with that Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, that I did notice. So I don't know, folks. Keep your eyes out. I'm sure there'll be more information coming about this in the coming days. But speaking of things,
I expect them to release that. To release it as discs, maybe a couple of extras. Maybe like a few extra goodies, might just be the discs themselves, but that's what I expect the next edition to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, so we got a full show for you here on This Week in Geek. Of course, we have news, which there's like a lot to talk about this week. There's some weird news we were able to dig up and some reviews. We're going to take a look at Mario Golf coming to us from Alex. First, we're going to take a look at two separate role-playing game supplements that I've had the pleasure to review. First one will be coming up from Free League Publishing, and that's from the Alien role-playing game line. We're going to be taking about the long-awaited Colonial Marines Operations Manual, which is very fitting because Aliens Fireteam Elite comes out tomorrow. So I'll be looking forward to playing that literally at midnight when the game unlocks. And I will also be reviewing Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft for Dungeons & Dragons, coming to us from Wizards of the Coast. So guys, stay tuned for all that and more. But before we do, it's time to prep the drop ship and get ready because we are taking off to worlds unknown with the United States Colonial Marine Corps. This is the Aliens role-playing game, Colonial Marines Operations Manual. We'll be back, guys, right after this.
All right, Scott, we're a team, and there's nothing to worry about. We come here, and we're going to conquer, and we're going to take some. Is that understood? Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do, sweethearts. We are going to go and get some. All right, people, on the ready line. Are you me? Yeah! Are you me? Yeah! What are you? Hudson! Get on the ready line, Marine! Get something to die! Get on the ready line! Yo! Move it up, goddammit! Get hot! 1, 2, 3, go! Get out! Get out! Get out! Move it up! 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 9! Absolutely badasses! Let's pack them in!
Okay, Marines, it's time to get on the ready line, wake up out of hypersleep, and let's check out from Free League Publishing, Alien, the role-playing game, Colonial Marines Operations Manual. So this is the book I have most been looking forward to out of the entire Aliens RPG line, such as it stands as of right now. I've reviewed almost everything in the line. I'm actually an NPC in Destroyer of Worlds under Mike Dodd. So if you look for my adoptive name, you'll find me in there. I'm a Colonial Marshal. So technically, I'm a part of the Frontier guys who make sure the colonists don't kill each other or, you know, weird life forms. So what this is a huge book. Like, I think it's 300 and something pages, like over 350 anyway. And what this is, and I'm going to read this from the back of the book and then give you my thoughts on it. History and Organization, the inside story of the illustrious U.S. CMC. Creating Marines, expanded character creation rules for grunts of all kinds, vehicles and weapons, an extensive chapter on the new gear gloriously illustrated, the Frontier War, the framework and backstory for a Colonial Marines campaign, Factions on the Frontier, the powers that be and their dark agendas, Marine missions, 6 thrilling missions for your Marines, playable in any order, and the end game, the slowdown against a deadly enemy, finally revealed. And you do need the main book to use this. The main reason I wanted this book for lore. One of the things that I love about the Aliens universe, it's the lore. It feels very lived in, and with movies like Prometheus and Covenant kind of giving the backstory to what happens before the Nostromo, I want to know more. And then with Aliens introducing the idea of the Marine Corps, obviously people have had, questions for years. And this book gives you a lot of details. Like, it explains different forces, how there's like Royal Marine Commandos, which work for the Three World Empire. One of the things that makes me so happy, the Canadian forces are listed. And we're not space fighters, so we're not going to like fight in 0G or, anything strange. But if you need a land-based force, we're the guys you talk to. We can all fight in different environments. We just need to be hauled by different kind of naval vessels to get us out there. And they also explain why the Colonial Marines are so recognized throughout the 20 parsec limit, is because they can get anywhere, anytime, really, really fast. They can deploy super easy. They aren't relying upon anybody else to get their equipment, their people, etc., etc. And that is friggin' cool. One of the things I also loved about this book, if you remember the Aliens toy line from when you were a kid by Kenner, some of those vehicles are in here. The Stinger is in here. Oh my god, I think I still have this somewhere, actually. So, holy shit, that is cool. They also talk about the Octurans. Like, there's that throwaway line in Aliens where it's Frost and Wisbowski or somebody talking about, well, the one you had was a male. It don't matter, and it's Octuran, baby. And they explain that. They give you the rules. They give you how the Octurans work with Weyland-Yutani, how their planet is like a trading post. It was like a war zone at one point, how we are closely related to them, the quote-unquote star teachers, so the engineers. There's a lot of neat story in here for you to do. Plus, also creating your characters. They talk about expanded character creation rules, so you can have events happen. Maybe you made a friend. Maybe you did something dumb. Or, and it's cool. They also tell you how the Marines are broken down into fire teams, gun teams, specialized assault units, what's a hospital corpsman, stuff like that. They give you all these military roles. And I have a friend who's former military and a huge alien nut, and I let him borrow this book for like a day, and he was so enthralled with it. In fact, as of today, Aliens Fireteam Elite comes out. We are so playing that, and it's going to be fun. This is awesome. Like, this is the book I've waited for years. And now that there's all these new factions and the Frontier War, you don't just have to fight Xenos. You could be literally going to a UPP planet. Maybe they've got more of those combat synthetics. Maybe you are there to take them out. They also talk about how the engineers are bombing planets on the Frontier and basically doing what David did in Covenant and basically bombing them back into, nothingness. So there are so many cool ideas you can farm in here. They talk about the different conflicts. They talk about different storylines. Like, if you're a military themed guy, this is great. Like, you can really build a cool military campaign around this. And because Alien is a deadly game to begin with, this ups the ante in terms of the new weapons you can get, some of the new ammunition. They did it right. They put my boy the VP-70 in here, which is a handgun that they use. And if you're any kind of a nerd, the VP-70 is Leon's handgun from Resident Evil 2. And it's just a cool handgun, but there aren't a lot around anymore. But if you want to learn more about the VP-70, go look it up on YouTube. And I think the channel is Forgotten Weapons if you want to know more about it. But anyway, the Colonial Marines Operations Manual, if you have the Alien Core book, if you bought nothing else, buy this. Because I think it'll make your campaign better. It'll make things expand out into the universe so much more. And you are just in for a real treat. So once again, that comes from Free League. Alien, the role-playing game, Colonial Marines Operations Manual, gets a sterling recommendation and an oorah from me.
Don't worry. Me and my squad of ultimate badasses will protect you. Check it out. Independently targeting particle beam phalanx. Fry half a city with this puppy. We got tactical smart missiles, phased plasma pulse rifles, RPGs, we got sonic electronic ball breakers. We got nukes, we got knives, sharp sticks. You do not want to fuck with me.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets. We're lucky.
This Week in Geek.
News.
Awesome. Well, again, you should be checking out that RPG supplement. One of my favorite ones I've ever read. Definitely worth picking up. So, let's talk about the news that happened around the world this past weekend. Holy God, there was a lot to talk about this week. We had to cut it down to the 5 stories that we can talk about, mostly because we know stuff, and other things just because they're interesting. So we're going to start off with the big, not safe for work elephant in the room. And this story comes courtesy of Variety.com, though every outlet on the planet has reported on this. And the headline reads, OnlyFans will ban pornography starting in October, citing need to comply with financial partners. OnlyFans, which has amassed a base of more than 130 million users, largely for adult-oriented subscription fan pages, announced it will ban sexually explicit content this fall. The UK-based company said it is making the changes to comply with the requests of our banking partners and payout providers in a statement provided to Variety. Effective October 1st, 2021, OnlyFans will prohibit the posting of any content containing sexually explicit conduct, the company said in a statement. In order to ensure the long-term sustainability of the platform and to continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans, we must evolve our content guidelines. According to OnlyFans, creators will continue to be allowed to post content containing nudity as long as it is consistent within our acceptable use policy. The site's terms currently allow nudity except in the case of content featuring public nudity recorded in or broadcast from a jurisdiction where public nudity is illegal. We will be sharing more details in the coming days, and we will actively support and guide our creators through this change in content guidelines, the company said. OnlyFans remains committed to the highest levels of safety and content moderation of any social platform. All creators are verified prior to being able to upload any content to OnlyFans, and all uploaded content is checked by automated systems and human moderators. OnlyFans earlier this week officially launched OFTV, a free streaming service that will not include any sexually explicit material. OFTV features original content from more than 100 OnlyFans creators spanning fitness, cooking, comedy, health, music, and more. OnlyFans earlier this year soft launched the on-demand streaming service, which now features a website, which is totally uploading my page. So hold on, gotta find my place again. Stop changing, Variety. Moving on. OnlyFans earlier this week soft launched the on-demand streaming video service, which now features a content library of over 800 videos. Founded in 2016, OnlyFans, it has paid out more than $5 billion to creators worldwide. According to its terms, the company keeps 20% of revenue generated by its 2 million plus creators because it has been home to X-rated content. OnlyFans is available only on the web, not on mobile app platforms, including iOS and Android. Top personalities, OnlyFans pages include Bobby, Cardi B, Jordan Woods, Bella Thorne, Tigra, Amber Rose, Black China, Ruby Rose, Tana Mongeau, and Trey Songz. No idea who about 95% of those people are. In July 2021, OnlyFans approved 114,065 creator accounts out of 222 applications, according to the company's first monthly transparency report. It has also revealed that it deactivated only 15 OnlyFans accounts last month after detecting child pornography on those accounts. Okay, this is a complicated issue because I know people who work in sex work. Some of them are models, some of them are content creators for that explicit reason, and this is, I've heard people say this is about biting the hand that feeds you, which is obviously a big deal. And I remember watching, and I want to say this was the Jake Paul Floyd Mayweather fight a couple months ago. If I remember right, I think Floyd Mayweather came out in an OnlyFans hat or something. And the only reason I mention that, because we're like, that's interesting. They're sponsoring him. Okay. Again, if I'm remembering this wrong, tell me now. But
I no idea.
Yeah, with this, I mean, it's OnlyFans. It's their company. It's a private company. They can do whatever they want with it. Are they going to screw themselves into oblivion? Probably. They have a library of over 800 videos. You know who else did? And they tried to launch a streaming service that nobody wanted or cared for. They were called Quibi. They are now owned by Roku, and nobody still watches that shit.
To be fair, they just recently announced that Roku is greenlighting another season of the Reno 911 that was exclusive to Quibi.
Wow! So one success out of a $2 billion plus blunder.
Yeah.
Wow! I hope you really like Reno 911. But yeah, there's like, I get why OnlyFans is doing this because, who was it? Help me out here. Pornhub, they told all their users, if you're not verified, get out. And that site was hit by the apocalypse, had a lot of user-generated content deleted because they weren't verified. Plus, there's always that risk, as with most adult content, some very unpleasant stuff is going to slip through. And that's just the nature of the beast. That's terrible, to say the very least. And plus revenge porn, etc., etc. I can see why OnlyFans wants to make its banking people happy, because if you need to make Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal happy, you have to play ball. I get it. So what are sex workers supposed to do? I don't have an answer for that. I mean, there are sites that will provide service. I think somebody mentioned ManyVids, or you could go to Pornhub and do the tip jar there if you really wanted to. But
yeah, the thing is, like, there's a couple of people that have equated this to what happened with Tumblr.
Yeah, very, very good point.
And yeah, I would pretty much agree with this 100%. Like, this will kill their platform.
Yeah, this is a dumb idea.
If they do this.
Yeah.
If they 100% go through with this, this is going to kill the platform.
Now, whoever owns OnlyFans, they're going to take the money and run.
Oh, 100%.
And honestly, do you blame them? I mean,
not really.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if someone offers me $1 billion, that's a lot of damn credits, man. I don't know. Like, and like I said, there are outlets for people to do things. However, OnlyFans has the best infrastructure in its back end to, I just realized that's a funny joke, that you can do a lot with it. Like, they've got payment system set up, the subscription model set up. And
essentially, it is the best. It is second only to, like, Patreon.
Yeah, like, it knows exactly how to work with the people in terms of creators, in terms of its community, plus brand recognition. Now, there's a possibility OnlyFans can shake its pornographic roots in a couple of years, but I don't think the company's going to survive that long. Yeah, I mean, and people like us who are in that web savvy generation, it's going to take years to deprogram us from thinking, oh, OnlyFans, the porno thing. And that's another thing too. OnlyFans really has to look at reputation management from a marketing side of this too. If they're trying to diversify their platform and get investment and payout partners, this is speculation on my behalf. But if they're willing to cut off this many users or impose this many restrictions, there is some serious money somewhere for OnlyFans to say, you know what? Maybe this is a good idea for us. So I'm thinking there's a lot more to this deal than what we're realizing. And I think some creators, again, based purely on speculation, are going to be less moderated, than others.
100%.
So
I 100% say that it's going to be the big money makers aren't going to get touched by this.
Yeah. So, to those of you who are creators on OnlyFans, I wish you the best of luck of what's going to happen next. I don't know. You have my support.
There are a couple of other sites that do similar things. They're just not frequently used as often.
Yeah. Plus they don't have the reputation. So I guess we'll find out what'll happen next on October 1st, 2021. We'll see what happens. So moving on to our next story. This one coming out of the Hollywood Reporter, found by Ken. Disney's profits from Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy at risk in upcoming trial. A long-running lawsuit. A judge rejects Disney's argument that its legal adversary can establish a link between use of special effects software and why consumers are buying movie tickets. For allegedly using stolen technology to market realistic CG characters, Disney faces the prospect of losing a portion of its profits on 3 of its blockbuster movies: Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Beauty and the Beast. On Tuesday, a California federal judge denied a summary judgment motion made by Disney with respect to these 3 films. The case had a complicated genesis, but being brought by Richten, a Silicon Valley company asserting ownership over a visual effects technology called MOVA that captures the facial performance of an actor wearing makeup and processes the data in the computer-generated imagery. The judge allowed Richten to move forward with a copyright claim based on alleged theft of software on the VFX vendor's computers. The summary judgment motion pertained to damages available to Richten in this case. Could Richten establish a causal nexus between intellectual property infringement and Disney profits? Meaning, is there a link between the use of special effects software and why consumers buy movie tickets? And does it matter for the purposes of the law? U.S. District Court Judge John Teagar points Riordan's arguments that Disney promoted MOVA as part of its advertising strategy for the movies, that movie directors and actors pushed the cutting-edge technology when doing promotion, and how defendant posted YouTube videos about making CG characters like the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. Additionally, the judge recognizes Riordan's argument that the software was used to create more empathetic characters, which contributed to the film's box office. This non-speculative evidence supports Riordan's theory of a causal nexus between the infringement and profits from Beauty and the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Deadpool, writes the judge. As to these films, it would be reasonable for the jury to infer from Riordan's evidence that the defendants advertised their use of MOVA and used MOVA-based clips in the film trailer in order to drive interest in the films, thereby increase film profits. The judge adds, to show a causal nexus to indirect profits, there must be evidence that the infringing product is a causal factor, but it need not be the sole causal factor. Disney challenged the causal nexus theory as a whole, arguing there is no support in copyright law for attainment of indirect profits via these means. In rejecting Disney's challenge, Teagar points to what happened during Oracle versus Google before that case got to the Supreme Court and helped define copyright issues with respect to computer code. The trial judge in that case considered Google's attempt to preclude a damages expert from testifying about the use of copying certain code into the Java API for the Android operating system. The judge ruled at the time that Oracle had proffered sufficient evidence of a causal nexus, a small piece of precedent that informs today's decisions. While Riordan does not get to shoot for profits from 3 films, the judge won't allow the plaintiff to go after where is that? Because my thing moved. To go after
spoils from Genesis, Age of Ultron, Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, and Fantastic Four.
Wow. Imagine going after the profits from Josh Trank's Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Fuck off. You know what? I can see the judge's point. I really can, because
100%.
Because those trailers were pushed on. Look how cool Colossus looks. Look at Rocket Raccoon. That's Bradley Cooper. You like them Bradley Coopers, don't you?
Well, it wasn't even Bradley Cooper doing the facial performance, that was actually Sean Gunn.
Oh.
Sean Gunn did the facial performance for Rocket Raccoon. And then same goes with Deadpool. Same goes with Dan Stevens as the Beast in the Beauty and the Beast remake. And like, I remember distinctly the Beauty and the Beast advertising, because they really pushed the effects on that film specifically to turn the Beast into the character he is in the movie. Which, to be fair, like, you could see Dan Stevens' performance in that movie for sure.
Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen with this? It'll be interesting, because if that's the case, I could see more lawsuits coming out of the woodwork. But if you're Disney and you already have proven by that time, by Age of Ultron, the Marvel Cinematic Universe had already proven it was a juggernaut. So just pay for the software. Don't be an asshole. But it's Hollywood, and that seems to be a hard thing to get through most people's heads these days. Don't be an asshole. Keeping on the Disney train, which is non-asshole news for a change. This one comes courtesy of IGN. Anthony Mackie closes deal to star in Captain America 4. The new film will be written...
In my opinion, no duh.
Yeah, no shit. The new film will be written by the Falcon and Winter Soldier's head writer and creator, Malcolm Spellman. Following the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie has closed a deal to star in Captain America 4. As reported by Deadline, Captain America 4 is being written by the Falcon and Winter Soldier's head writer and creator, Malcolm Spellman, and series staff writer, Dallin Muson. Deadline sources have also said there's no director set for the film as of yet. There's no word as to whether or not Sebastian Stan will return as Bucky Barnes in Captain America 4, and Deadline also notes that this is not to be believed to be the top secret project tipped by Deadline writer Justin Kroll that might bring Chris Evans back into the fold. This news follows a similar report by the Hollywood Reporter that also noted this project was in development, and this latest update confirms it's well on the way. The Falcon and Winter Soldier told the story of Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, and the series finale left the audience with many questions regarding John Walker, Sharon Carter, and more. While there is no word as to when this movie would hit theaters, we do know that the MCU, with the furthest away confirmed date, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on May 5th, 2023. There are a ton of other projects in the work without dates, including Moon Knight, Blade, the second season of Loki, so it will be interesting to see where Captain America 4 fits in. And then it just goes, for more on this story, read this bullshit. Yeah, obviously, Cap, Sam Wilson, how could Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes not be in this movie?
It's probably just they're in discussion. We'll hear something in the next couple weeks to a month or so.
We'll definitely hear something by the end of year.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know who I want him to fight though. Like, who's always the villain in this?
You can just like throw anything at the wall and see what sticks, kind of thing.
Well, I was surprised they made Baron Zemo first off an empathetic character, and they took a guy who in essence was an asshole in a purple ski mask and made him a cool character. They even took a joke character like Batroc the Leaper and turned him into something kind of cool with like George St. Pierre. And the fact that they brought him back for Falcon and Winter Soldier surprised the ever-living shit out of me.
It definitely surprised me too.
Which actually, weird side tangent for 30 seconds here. Years ago, I won a trip from NOS Energy Drinks to go hang out in Las Vegas with George St. Pierre. And we're in his expensive ass suite at the MGM Grand overlooking the Vegas Strip. So this guy comes in and does magic for us. Very strange. So think of Paul Rudd eating cards, and that was about as ridiculous as that night got. And I'm sitting there talking with, there was another group there who'd won the same prize as we did to hang with George St. Pierre, but they wouldn't talk to him because they were too nervous. And I've been doing media at that point for 7 years or so. So I'm just, whatever, you're just another dude to me. So we're sitting there talking. We're talking about Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, and some other shit. And eventually we get around to talking to him and Marvel. And I said to him, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was still airing at the time. I think they were in their second or third season. And I said to George, you know your character's not dead, right? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we never saw Batroc's body. You just had the shit kicked out of you. You're not dead. And he's like, well, so what? Go ask Marvel. Go see if they can do something with you and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why the hell not? It's all connected, right? And George, in his very French accent, he's like, you know, that's not a bad idea. So he signed my copy of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, because that's the one that he was in. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I like to think in some way maybe I influenced this decision. Probably not. That's my own headcanon. But still, this is going to be cool. I mean, I liked how they gave Sam Wilson the evolution, the Stars Cap. I like how he talked with the old Captain America, Isaiah, and how, you know, America will never respect a black Captain America, but he's like, allow me to try and show you a different way. And there were some really great speeches and moments in that series. The series itself with the Flag Smashers as the bad guy was kind of stupid, but some of the messaging in that series was great. Plus some great performances from Maggie and Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
So
to be honest, like I would be fine if they announced, hey, the director of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who directed all 6 episodes of that, have her direct the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if
she did a great job
in
terms of like composing the shots and kind of giving the same feel as the Russos did with Civil War and Winter Soldier. Like, it felt a part of that legacy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I went to Walmart this past week and I finally found a Cap figure. So now I've got him and Red Wing. I don't know whether I'll be able to find all the parts to the Build-A-Figure to build his wings. Probably not, because that's the way it is. Though I did get the hardest one to find. I got the Loki variant.
Nice.
And that comes with the ability for Sam to plug his wings and for him to look like he's flying, and it looks really cool. Plus, Red Wing can mount on his shoulder and look like he's flying too, which is neat. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. The Marvel machine keeps moving forward. We still got Shang-Chi coming up in just a few weeks, which I bought tickets to that.
And Eternals.
And Eternals.
I know you don't care, but I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? I was wrong about Loki. Maybe I'll be wrong here. So this next piece of news comes hot on the heels of Aliens celebrating its 35th anniversary, one of my favorite movies of all time, as you gathered from my review of the operations manual. Nerf Limited, or Nerf LMTD, Aliens 35th anniversary M41A blaster is up for pre-order. As far as I know, you can still get this. James Cameron's Aliens hit theaters on July 18th, 1986, which means the iconic science fiction horror film recently celebrated its 35th anniversary. Hasbro has a belated birthday present for fans in the form of the Nerf LMTD Aliens M41A Pulse Blaster. And I have to burp, so give me a second here. Excuse me, folks. Sorry, gas. I'm drinking Coke Zero. Not professional, I know. The blaster is inspired by the M41A used by the Colonial Marine Corps in the film. It's capable of firing 2 different kinds of darts. 10 elite Nerf darts for the fully motorized rapid fire, or 3 mega darts via pump action. It also features a LCD dart counter and sound effects from the M41A when the trigger is pulled. To top it all off, the Aliens blaster comes packaging in this awesome Colonial Marines style design, which looks like it would come from a crate from Aaron Matt, who's the in-universe creator of this. Pre-orders for the Nerf LMTD Aliens M41A Pulse Rifle are live here at GameStop. And you can get this at EB Games in Canada for about $129, I think. Now priced at $94.99, so not too much more, with free shipping. Unfortunately, the release date is set for October 1st, 2022. So you'll have to be patient. You'll want to lock down one sooner rather than later, because it's going to be popular. You won't be charged until it ships. Yeah. And then the article goes on to talk about the Aliens TV show, which we talked about last week. Okay. So I am a child and I love Nerf guns. I had every single except one. I'm missing the Halo Nerf assault rifle. It's the only one I'm missing. I miss technically two. There's the Boom Co. one, which held the Halo license before, and the new Nerf Halo assault rifle that looks like the one from Halo 1, and I think there's one for Reach or something. Either way, I'm missing a couple of those, but I've got almost everything else. So when this was announced, a series of events happened. So, I roll over from a nap and I wake up and I look at my phone and I'm half groggy. I'm checking my blood sugar. I'm checking the news. I'm checking email. And something pops up on my Facebook feed. And I see this yellow pulse rifle. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I start reading. And oh my God! So I have a squee moment. And as you folks know, I'm handicapped. I almost fall out of bed grabbing for my wife's purse so I can get the credit card so I could put down a pre-order on this. Because thank God you don't have to pay till next year. So I put down the pre-order and I got one. Thank God. Because this thing is going to sell out so fast. The secondary market for this thing is going to be nuts. Now let's talk about the gun itself. The Mega Dart thing makes me really happy because it's in essence the grenade launcher.
Yeah.
That is fucking cool. And the fact that it plays the sound when you pull the trigger, the dart counter goes down and you can set it to 95 like it is in the movie or set it to any other random number. And these Nerf guns that fire automatic are really friggin' fast. I know the Nerf community is going to take one of these guns and they're going to repaint it, which is going to be awesome. In fact, I would consider doing that to mine. But when I was talking with Liam, I looked at him and said, this reminds me of what a Weyland-Yutani security team might carry, or like some kind of a private kind of military sort of thing. So the fact that it looks like a power loader skin, I'm kind of okay with, because in universe, in my own headcanon, I can make that make sense. So,
and to be fair, the guys at Hasbro know design like no other.
Yeah, like it's pretty close to the scale of the prop. Maybe a few details here and there are lost. And the last pulse rifle, I think, sold at auction just recently, actually. I think in June, it was Vasquez's gun where she was sealing the door when they're about to break into operations, and they screen matched it because there's a very noticeable nick in the handle. We're like, oh, that's that gun. Plus, there's a groove on the magazine that they could they could screen match it to, and I think that sold for over. I know it sold for over 100,000, and that's not the cheapest one I've seen. Yeah, there's been a lot of Aliens props come up in the last couple of years. I know Apone's armor and Frost's armor came up a little while ago for sale.
Like all the anniversary, and then also the fact that Disney bought Fox.
Yeah,
that probably also allowed for some things to either mysteriously disappear in quotes or other means like that. Like even private collectors probably have been waiting for an anniversary so that they can kind of like, all right, I'm going to get a little more money if I sell this now, kind of thing.
Yeah, like there are certain props from this movie I would love not to have because I have nowhere to display it. The lone exception would be a pulse rifle. Now, I was talking with Liam because me and him are huge Aliens fans. We're also gun nuts, which is funny because I'm very whatever. I would love for Nerf to release a VP-70, which is the sidearm of you see in the movie. It's a very futuristic looking handgun, and if you played Resident Evil 2, that's Leon's handgun. And we got talking like, how would they do an incinerator, which is the big flamethrower? And I got to thinking, who owns the Super Soaker license right now?
Hasbro.
Okay, incinerator. You make that a Super Soaker, I'll buy that too. Or the smart gun. If you could motorize that thing, even if it was meant for collectors at like $500, you get the big smart gun. You get, and I guess if you had it backpack fed, you could do it. Because there's a guy on YouTube. If you type in Nerf smart gun, there's this big guy. He's not as big as me, but he's a pretty big dude. And he's got the armor, which is accurate to the movie. And he even has custom software he wrote for this gun, so it fires like it's an incredible project that he did. But he showed how a Marine moves through a door with this thing, because in Aliens, you see Vasquez and Drake moving through doors, moving through corridors. And I was writing a story last year for my writing course, which, by the way, I go back to school in a month. Oh boy. And I wrote about the alien smart gunner, how they move through a door. And somebody said they can't do that. And I wrote back, yeah, they can. And here's a video showing how. But I always love the smart gun. But the pulse rifle for me is one of my favorite sci-fi weapons. 1, aliens. 2, the sound effects. And it's going to sound dumb. And again, I'm going to catch hands for this. I got a PS3 last year again, because mine died a number of years ago. Plus, we're in PS4, PS5 generation now. And I got Alex's old PS3. And I went out and rebought Aliens Colonial Marines. Only $5. And thankfully, I had the collector's edition of that. So I just re-downloaded all my DLC. And I haven't gone back to play it. But as of this recording, Aliens Fireteam comes out tonight. So I'm going to kill me some aliens, and it's going to be awesome. And then I can sit here and I can role play with this. It's going to be so cool next year, but still cool. So now that I've gushed about that for about entirely too goddamn long, this last story comes courtesy of Ken. And you know a lot more about some of these people than I do.
Yep.
So, according to Deadline, Star Wars Visions Disney Plus unveils trailer, Lucy Liu, Neil Patrick Harris among voice cast. Disney has released the trailer and unveiled the English and Japanese dub voices for Star Wars Visions, its upcoming anthology series from Lucasfilm, composed of short films centered on the Star Wars universe. The series launches September 22nd on Disney Plus. Watch the trailer here, which you can't, but
it's friggin' great.
It's really damn cool. So, Lucy Liu, Neil Patrick Harris, George Takei, Alison Brie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt are among the English voice cast for the that tells the new Star Wars stories from the singular and traditional style of Japanese anime. Lucasfilm is partnering with 7 of the most talented anime studios in Japan to bring their signature style and unique vision of the Star Wars galaxy to this inspired new series, said James Waugh, executive producer and VP franchise content and strategy at Lucasfilm. These stories showcase the full spectrum of bold storytelling found across Japanese animation, each told with a freshness and voice that expands our understanding of what a Star Wars story can be and celebrates a galaxy that has been an inspiration to so many visionary storytellers. To the studios creating the 9 shorts. Take it away, Ken. Can't pronounce any of these.
Okay, it's Kamikaze Doiga for the Dual Geno Studio, which is part of Twin Engine for Lap and Ocho. Studio Colorido, which is also part of Twin Engine, Tatooine Rhapsody. Studio Trigger is doing The Twins and the Elder. Kinema Citrus is doing The Village Bride. Science Saru is doing Akikari and TOB1, and Production IG is doing The Ninth Jedi. And then it goes and breaks down the English dub cast as well as the Japanese cast. Some of the Japanese cast, you're gonna if you watch any modern anime, you're probably gonna recognize some of the voices.
I like how Shang Tsung is in one of these.
Yeah.
He's in The
Yeah,
Village
he is.
Bride as Valko.
Yep. Also, you have James Hung playing the Elder, which I assume that is the evil old man. I've been trying to re-listen to that one clip from the trailer, and it sounds kind of like Hung. I'm not 100%, but
I could believe it. Also, David Harbour's in that episode too.
Yep.
So Hopper's gonna fight the crazy guy, James Hogg.
Yeah. Yep. And Ninth Jedi, I'm pretty sure, because knowing Production IG, and they're very, very good at their CG work, is that very CG stylized piece that they've shown in that trailer. That's the Production IG episode. And damn, does that look good in terms of the action.
I remember years ago, and I'm talking like 15, there was actually a Star Wars manga that like you could purchase, and I thought it was really, really well done. I had the first 2 volumes of it. Now, if you want to look up something neat, it is not official by any stretch of the imagination, but it took this guy years to do it because
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's it's an anime short. It's about 10 minutes.
It's basically an OP. It's basically an intro scene plus OP.
Yeah, it's more or less TIE Fighter the movie, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and it is remarkably well done. And I always said for years, why doesn't Star Wars do an anime? And then there were those Galaxy shorts that showed the prequel, sequel, and the original trilogy in anime styling. And then somebody, and it became a trend on YouTube, is cut Star Wars anime openings using that footage and using anime theme songs.
Yeah, that person has been doing that for like feature films. He's been doing that for a while. I had followed him a while ago, and then he blew up with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, so this is cool. I'm really looking forward to this. On another note, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Star Wars Black Series toys come out of all this, because it's Disney. So there's going to be some really cool shit. There's one character in it. She looks like she's half girl, half bunny or cat or something.
Yes. Yeah.
If she gets a figure, she's going to look cool.
Yeah, that's the Lap Ocho. Lap Ocho short. I'm pretty sure that is, given the fact that it is it is being done by Geno Studio. Yeah, that's definitely a Geno.
So that's going to be cool. We don't have to wait very, very long for this. So be looking forward to that. So we're going to take a small break here on This Week in Geek. But before we break into the weird news this week, well, we're going to take things out to the golf course, and we're going to join Mario and his pals. This is Mario Golf. We'll be back, guys, right after this.
We're a little late to the party, but Mario Golf Super Rush came across my inbox in a review code from Nintendo, and I thought, oh, great, I missed this at the beginning of summer. Let's take a look. And I have not really been a hardcore Mario Golf player since, probably, I guess, like, GameCube era. And I sort of had jumped in off and on. My brother owned various versions of it. And, I thought, okay, well, when I saw the initial trailer for this a couple of years ago, I thought, oh, man, adding, like, RPG-ish elements to it, this might be something for me. And, the summer hit, and there was a lot of other things going on, so we didn't, get an opportunity to check it out. But there is a DLC pack that just came out very recently in the last few weeks, and that coincided with us getting a review code. So I went, hey, maybe, this is the right time to be doing a sort of a quick overview. I think at this point, you pretty much know whether or not it's a good game, and the response is it's been, a good game. It's some middling reviews, I think, from some people that wanted more content initially, because it looked like it was a little more bare bones when it first came out, with the promise of extra free DLC later on. As with anything that was developed during the pandemic, we're finding now that, the game was ready, but maybe not every piece of content, so they're going to stagger it out so that we don't have this, a void of no content. And I'm okay with that. I think under other circumstances in the future, let's say we go back to fairly normal development cycles, if we start to see Nintendo maybe holding out on content that should have been in the game, as long as it's free, I don't really care. If they start charging for it and we get into an EA Activision sort of situation, then we'll have to revisit it. But as is, I'm happy with how this was released. Now, I will say this: the controls are very good. Yes, it's funny that a Mario Golf game tends to have some of the better golf mechanics and controls compared to some of even the simulation games out there. Very tight. If the learning curve is not steep at all, you're pretty much getting into it right away. It has a nice breezy gameplay to it. It's fast paced, but not too fast paced. But you can still take enough of your time when you're setting up your shots that you can really line everything up and make it work perfect. The battle mode is fun. As I said, it was a little light on content, but I'll talk about the downloadable DLC that have come out in the last couple of weeks in a bit here. RPG wise, yeah, there's some RPG elements where you're leveling up your stats, which is pretty neat. It's very light on the RPG elements, but still fun that way. Story, it's a Mario game. The story is not important. It's not even really a major factor at all here. But if you want to know, if you've been sort of on the fence, you want to know what you're getting into when it comes to the 2.0 update that came out, and here's sort of a breakdown. Because when I got it, it's right when the patch came out, so I downloaded it at once, and I was like, so what's different from here from the original? Well, the motion controls have been tightened up, and they've made some improvements to just how accurate they are, and maybe how it's a little bit of like quality of life update to make sure that it's just a little more fluid and easier to use that way. They added Toadette to the game, which is cool. It's always something. They added the new Donk City course. So, it's a substantial thing, because that was one of the complaints, was that there weren't a lot of courses or, a ton of characters. It was a little light at first. So that's included now, which is awesome. And New Donk is fun. And it's modeled to look pretty much just like it did in Mario Odyssey, which is great. They added ranked match modes. So nice. That's always good. And just little pieces here and there, little graphical updates, little updates to how fast it loads, some efficiency things, mixing in the new content with the little bit of quality of life, patches. I'd say this is the format. Like, I think if it had come out like this, I think people would have maybe given it a little bit higher reviews initially, because the biggest complaint people had was that it seemed a little bit short on content, including everything that was included here. Now it's a much more complete package, and there's probably more stuff to be coming soon as well. Expect some sort of updates maybe around the holidays or a little later, because they said that there are features and stuff still coming. So if you're looking for something, especially in the fall, we've got the new OLED Switch coming out. It seems like everybody's still buying Mario Kart. Maybe pick up Mario Kart and this together. But I'm actually glad I waited till now, because I've got a much more complete experience.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
All right, welcome back to This Week in Geek, the flagship of stupidity. I'm Mike the Birdman. That's Ken. Let's talk about some of the funny things that happened around the Earth this past week. And our first story comes courtesy of Kotaku. A rogue bee kept breaking Skyrim's iconic cart intro. Former Bethesda developer on Elder Scrolls V opens up about a notorious bug. No matter how many times you've watched Skyrim's opening cutscene, you probably still haven't seen it as much as Nate Perkypile. That's a hell of a name. That's because back during production, a mysterious entity kept throwing the cart off course, and the developers couldn't figure out why. The mysterious culprit? A bee! That intro is now famous, but back then it was just one thing we had to keep working on and on forever. Perkypile, who most recently worked on Starfield, wrote in a thread that blew up on Twitter today. I lost track of how many times I'd seen that cart ride, easily hundreds. According to the veteran developer and former Bethesda lead artist, the complexity arose from the fact the cart was physically simulated rather than on a set track. Weird stuff in the environment could potentially throw it off. Of course, like say a misplaced rock. Then one time shit really hit the fan. Riding that cart yet again, the cart starts to shake violently, and all of a sudden, whoosh, the cart goes up into the sky like a rocket ship, like way up there, Perkypile Road. Something was telling me the cart to just fuck right off and to get off the road. The thing is, it wasn't happening every time. Nobody knew what was going on at first. Eventually, he and the rest of the team discovered the issue had to do with bees. Collision physics have been added to the insects so that players could pick them up as an ingredient, which was fine, until the bees hit the cart. The cart wanted to move down the road. The bee did not want to move. He wrote, so up the cart goes. Moral of the story, game development is hard. Fixing bugs is even harder, especially that kind of buzz. Now, I've encountered some weird bugs in Skyrim. Not like that, but I have had a couple of interesting Skyrim bugs.
I mean, that sounds like a bug that would happen in Bethesda's old engine.
Yeah, like easily. So I'm playing Skyrim, and I'm playing on the 360 at this time. Back when my wife Blair used to call herself a Skyrim widow, because I played that game a lot. Especially
and
when
guess what? You can play it again.
Yep.
Now re-releasing yet again, because Todd wants to sell you Skyrim every 2 years.
Yep. And I actually have a review coming up of an officially released Skyrim mod that I'm going to talk about probably in like a week or two.
Yeah,
so,
that's it. That looks really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So my bug that I first encountered was I was fighting a giant. And we all know how that goes. If you are powerful enough, you can kill these things pretty easy. However, if you are not powerful enough and you block one of their hits from their war clubs, you will most likely go into orbit. I had that happen so many times, and each time I would hysterically cackle because my Dragonborn, this slayer of Alduin, the protector of the Dawn Guard, launched into the fucking stratosphere every fucking time. It was hilarious. And then I figured out, once I got my blocking and my health up to a certain level, I could farm the giants for my blocking skill. So I would just walk back and forth and be like, oh, what are you going to do? Hit me, block. What are you going to do? Hit me, block. And after like half an hour, my skill would be maxed out. So that's about how long I used to play Skyrim. I could find every single exploit, which I have a pair of gloves and rings in that. I have a bunch of enchanted gear where I think with my gloves, I'm dealing 2 billion damage with my crossbow. So yeah, everything dies in one hit, but you have to be careful. I know there was like a damage threshold that if you went above it, the game would break. But yeah, it was a fun time. Plus I used to like to pick up weird armor and customize my character. And it's one of the only games I have every single achievement for, that and Fallout and all of its DLC. I don't have them all on the special edition because my game bugged out when I bought my house and it wouldn't count the fact that I own houses. So I really don't want to redo the entire game just for that achievement. But now that I'm getting a new game that includes fishing, maybe I will. But hey, you do get a free upgrade to the next gen edition if you own Skyrim Special, but you have to pay for the upgrade to the Anniversary Edition. So,
I mean, also, it'll probably just get folded into Game Pass anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, either way, I can promise you now, I will review it. But it looks fun. So, thanks, B, for being that asshole. Moving on to our next story. This one I found, or I think Ken found this one.
No, you found this one.
Okay, so this one comes. Oh wait, this may be a little too old because it was 11 days ago. But I guess it falls. You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. This one comes courtesy of Live Science. A shape-shifting fish that confounded scientists for 100 years spotted off California coast. The whalefish's body changes dramatically across its lifespan. Scientists piloting a remote submarine have caught a rare glimpse of one of the deep sea's most mysterious and elusive creatures. The bright orange female whalefish, or of the order, can't pronounce that name, was spotted half swimming, half gliding through the glare of the submarine's lights around 6,600 feet, or 2,013 meters deep offshore of Monterey Bay, California. The whalefish sighting was one of only 18 made by marine biologists from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute during its 34 years of deep sea exploration. Whalefish have rarely been seen alive in the deep. So many mysteries remain regarding these remarkable fish, said the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute tweeted. With each deep sea dive, we uncover more and more mysteries and solve others. So little is known about the lives of whalefish that it is for more than a century after their discovery. They were first recorded in 1895 by two Smithsonian Institution scientists. The three vastly different forms that the animals may take across their life cycle were mistaken for entirely different zoological families. First, there have been tape-tail, scaleless larval forms with long streamer-like tails and mouths that seem to have a comical overbite. They live and feed near the ocean surface. When the time comes for these fish to assume their adult forms, two vastly different body shapes await them. If they are male, the tape-tail will become big noses. Scales sprout across their body. Their mouths shrink to minuscule proportions as their jawbones waste away and their noses balloon outward. As they'll never feed again, their intestines, esophagus, and stomach all shrivel and disappear. Their chest cavity is instead filled by their sexual organs and a gigantic liver as an energy store. The moments before the male's tape-tail's metamorphosis could be described as a feeding frenzy. The creature will stuff themselves with tiny crustaceans called cephalopods or copepods, I think. Sorry, I mispronounced that. To help power them through the remainder of their lives as mobile sperm delivery systems. Females undergo a no less dramatic transformation. Their bodies expand to resemble a miniature baleen whale, growing to sizes far greater than their male counterparts, and they develop water pressure detecting lateral lines along their flanks to guide them through the pitch black depths. In some species, the female's bodies change to a shade of brilliant orange, as red and orange colors of light cannot penetrate the depths they live in, and this coloring makes the fish virtually invisible. Both males and females tend to be spotted at depths between 4,920 and 6,560 feet, or 1,500 and 2,000 meters, respectively, beneath the ocean surface, although some reports have claimed they can go far deeper still, beyond depths to 3,500 meters. The bizarre transforming act, I can't pronounce the name there, perform are unprecedented amongst vertebrates. For decades, no one knew what the different body types belonged to the same zoological family. It was only in 2009 that a study of mitochondrial genes, or genes that trace the maternal line, alongside careful analysis of the animal specimens collected mid-transformation, that enabled researchers to conclusively prove that the tape-tails, big noses, and whalefish in their study belonged to the same species. However, this discovery was made in just one species, and the elusiveness of the deep ocean-dwelling animals means the family trees for many whalefish species may never be completed. Little is known of the fish habitats or of the fish habits either, but scientists think whalefish migrate up to around 2,000 feet or 600 meters beneath the sea surface to feed by starlight, retreating to the safety of the depths as the day breaks. That's kind of cool.
Yep. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Cetomimiformis. Thank you, Latin.
I don't know anything. But I do appreciate a good biology story. These fish are weird looking. Excuse me. And it's cool that it seems to be like every couple of years we find some rare fish we don't think should exist. I remember reading about this when I was a child, where they found that fish they thought was dead for like 35,000 years, and some fisherman caught one in like India or something. And it's this giant fish, this great big gaping maw of a mouth. I'm always interested whenever the Discovery Channel posts something about giant squids or the megalodon, which doesn't exist anymore, but you never know. So that's interesting. Moving on to our next story. This one comes courtesy of PCMag.com. PC user finds condom-like finger glove inside NVIDIA RTX 3090 graphics card. Anthony Terhost discovered the objects inside his RTX 3090 Founders Edition card after he was trying to figure out why it was running so hot. A PC user says he discovered a condom-like glove inside the NVIDIA RTX 3090 graphics card that had been running hot since he bought it. The user, Anthony Terhost of the Netherlands, bought the RTX 3090 Founders Edition 2 weeks ago, but the card's memory temperature routinely reached 110 degrees Celsius within only a minute or two of actual use, a major sign of overheating. Horst decided to take the unit apart. Well, that's when he discovered the unlikely culprit, a piece of latex-like material sitting over the card's memory chips. Video Cards was the first to report the news. I was like, what the fuck? Maybe there's some insulation somewhere or something, to protect certain parts, he told PC Mag when recounting the unwelcome discovery. Although the object is shaped like a condom, Horst suspects it's only the finger caught a factory worker wore while assembling the card. Somehow the glove ended up being sealed inside the unit. Horst posted a picture of his discovery on Reddit, which sparked numerous condom-related jokes. Since removing the finger caught, the card now runs at 86 degrees Celsius. NVIDIA didn't immediately respond to a request for comment, but for months now, PC users have been pointing out that the Founders Editions of the RTX 3090 and 3080 cards can run hot for high workloads, such as cryptocurrency mining. This can allegedly cause the GPUs to throttle. To fix the issue, PC users have been replacing the card's original thermal paste. Of course, some readers may be skeptical about Horst's discovery. Unfortunately, he only took one picture of the finger caught on the GPU before removing it. In the meantime, Horst said he plans on replacing the thermal pads on his own card since the original ones broke after he decided to disassemble the product. He's also been in contact with NVIDIA's customer support, but it remains unclear if the company will honor the product's warranty due to him taking it apart. I would hope they would honor that. I can see why they wouldn't, though.
I mean, honestly, as someone who tinkers with shit all the time and also a proponent of right to repair, yeah, I would, if something was going wrong with my card, I would take it apart myself and figure out what the fuck's going on.
I mean, and it's pretty clear this was a factory defect. Now, 100%. Again, taking his side, it's a factory defect. Taking the other side, let's say he falsified it, that's a pretty weird way to falsify it, and I'm pretty sure they could figure this out relatively quickly.
Exactly.
If he was full of shit. So hopefully he gets his card replaced, because evidently video cards is like finding a fucking leprechaun these days. They're really hard.
Oh, trust me.
I'm glad I got my computer last year before the video card apocalypse hit. Yeah. So final story this week comes courtesy of Gizmodo. The new longest record pi beats previous record by 12.8 trillion digits. On Monday, a team of Swiss data scientists announced that their supercomputer calculated the mathematical constant to a new length of 62.8 trillion digits, extending the original constant beyond its previously calculated end by some 12.8 trillion digits. And to think I never even mentioned 3.1, I'm not, fuck off. It's
3.1452653.
Yes. So it's long. So according to a statement from the University of Applied Sciences of holy shit, Graubünden in Switzerland, the research team knew over the weekend that they had achieved the most exact yet summation of the constant, which describes the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Pi has numerous applications, including construction and spaceflight. But as David Harvey, a mathematician at the University of New South Wales in Australia, told The Guardian, I can't imagine any real-life physical application where you would need more than any, say, 15 decimal places. Other computing scientists have said 39 digits to do because of the specificity it gives you the circumference of the observable universe to within the diameter of a single atom. So why the extra 62.79 trillion digits? Thomas Keller, who managed the calculation at the University of Applied Sciences, said in the release that the updated constant was a sort of technological demonstration for the supercomputer, which is housed at the university's data center for data analytics, visualization, and simulation. To calculate such a large number requires a huge amount of memory and processing power. The ultimate Pi result took 63 terabytes of space to save, and the computer needed 108 days and 9 hours to calculate it, nearly twice as fast as the speed set by Google's Cloud in 2019. Further details on the specifics of the calculation can be found on the project's website. The researchers won't make the entire number public until the Guinness Book of World Records certifies the result. Whether Guinness has a full-time data scientist on board for this sort of thing, I'm not sure. For now, we'll have to be satisfied to the final digits, which the team shared that piece of pie. Now, it's funny. Growing up, I had this friend named Mike, and Mike was a very smart guy. And I remember at the end of high school, he won some kind of award from the Canadian government, or maybe this is when he went to college or university. Either way, some kind of an academic setting. He won some kind of an award for calculating pi. And I always wondered why. But now I know construction and space flight and the observable universe stuff, because I will fully admit I am math stupid. Like literally, I went to summer school for math 2 years in a row in high school. I know, call me dumb now. I'm a soft science. I'm an English major. I'm a history guy. I can do any of the soft sciences, no problem. In fact, there was a joke in broadcasting. Broadcasters don't do math, and we don't, unless we need to calculate seconds for a segment, or we're counting in from something, or if you've ever seen me edit TWIG, which remarkably few of you ever have, I'm always trimming, watching for seconds, trying to hit certain benchmarks. So I can deal with that. That math I get, because it's just match this number, make it work. But when it comes to, hey, Mike, in this calculation, what is X? And I'm probably going to give you the middle finger because I don't know. And I will fully admit, I don't get math. Maybe I don't know. I just don't get it. But I think that's interesting. The fact that science continues to push forward. Whatever applications come out of this, neat. And, I don't know.
Honestly, the big thing is it's just like, why did we do it? Because we can.
Exactly. So
it basically is that. I mean, like, I have a buddy who can go through up to 50 digits of pi. I think he did once. And then also, like, my brother is very, very good at math. Dude does like 3-digit multiplication in his head in like a second.
The only math I can do reliably is anything involving Dungeons and Dragons and certain role-playing games.
And that is a rudimentary math.
Yeah, basically. Hey, Mike, can you figure out the cover modifier if I have this, that, and this spell active? Yeah, sure, give me a second, and I'll figure it out. Or the most math-intensive game I ever played from my early days would have been Shadowrun 2nd Edition.
Yep, as someone who played that, 100% it's math heavy.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, is he held by cover? Is there smoke? What's the distance? What's the range modifier? Are you hurt? Or does your character have this? Do they have a scope? Is it thermal? Do you have a smart link? There's all these different things you have to calculate, and that's even before you fire your first shot. And that's not including if you do full auto. Are you doing a 3-round burst? Are you doing a called shot? Shit. Whereas a game like Cyberpunk Red has it significantly different now in their Friday night firefight system, which I'm a big fan of. So, if you want to learn simple math, role-playing games is honestly the way to go. But if you want to do pi, go talk to the supercomputer. So anyway, we are going to take a final break here on This Week in Geek, and we're going to go to a land of math and adventure. We're going to take things off to the world of Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to go to the lands of Strahd von Zarevich, but not exactly. We're going to explore the other domains of dread, and we're going to talk about Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, one of the latest supplements for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and my favorite setting of all time. So we will be back, guys, right after this to close out the show. Greetings, my children of the night. It is I, your Dungeon Master, Mike the Birdman, and I'm here to talk to you about one of the latest releases from Wizards of the Coast. I'm talking about Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It has been no secret on the show that I am a huge fan of the Ravenloft setting. On a previous podcast, I have done 2 adventures in the Ravenloft setting using 5th edition rules, but in the last couple of years, we've had more releases from that. We've had the Curse of Strahd, we had the revised Curse of Strahd box set that was shaped like the coffin, and now we're getting something that helps you flesh out a campaign, but it's not a gazetteer as you may think of it. Like, it's not as lore deep as you would like, but it definitely is a good toolkit for GMs. Like, if you want to create your own kind of Ravenloft style adventures, well, you're certainly going to get information on creating your own domains of dread, some of the new monsters and stuff like that, so you can create a dark fantasy game for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And I think Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft does a lot of things right in how you bring horror and scary elements to a D&D table, because you think, like, in my opinion anyway, when you approach D&D, you're always quote-unquote big goddamn heroes. Here, Ravenloft turns the logic of that on its head, and it's literally, they say at several points in the book, Ravenloft is run by nightmare logic, and the dark powers, the evil entities or whatever that rule Ravenloft sort of twist things around, and things may not always work out the way you want them to. And they explain how the different domains of dread work, and a domain of dread can be a single building. It could be a country like Barovia, or it could be any number of things in between there. And also talks about how the Dark Lords of each domain influence what type of horror you're going to experience. And that's the thing, though. With a book like this, you can really create a unique experience for your game, because I think everyone is a little tired of playing in Faerun. Sure, we had the Eberron setting book. We've even got stuff for the Critical Role stuff with, like, Wildmount. But this is an established setting from years upon years back, and it's the Gothic horror setting. And if you know anything about creating Gothic horror, you really have to have a buy-in from your players. And horror does not necessarily mean, you know, here's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and here's blood and gore, which I kind of did with my players in the Dreamstone for Nerds of the Third Powers podcast. But if I had to do a strictly Ravenloft campaign, a book like this would help me as a new DM craft different types of atmosphere and listening to the buy-ins from the players as you're playing. But there also is something that this book mentions, and I really think it's important to talk about, is the book and your setting and your adventure and your story should scare the player characters. If you can draw in fear and atmosphere from your players, that's great, but don't pick on their fears individually. That's just kind of a jerk thing to do. So the book encourages having a conversation before you play this. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request. So it's cool, though. So some of the chapters in here, Chapter 1 details how players can create characters for fright-filled adventures, options for lineages and backgrounds, ominous past for any characters, as well as dark gifts and subclasses to shape their fates. Chapter 2 is more of like a DM thing to create, you know, new Dark Lords and domains. Chapter 3 is an overview of dozens of Ravenloft's domains, as well as details on characters and adventures found in these haunted lands. I'm reading some of this directly from the book. Chapter 4 offers tools for dungeon masters trusted with running adventures, from rules to creating curses and running out-of-body experiences to advice to building safe and suspenseful campaigns. And Chapter 5 details how to make any foe into a notorious terror, as well as a collection of monsters that roam the domains of dread and other D&D worlds. There's a lot to read here, but if you really want to create a long-running campaign in Ravenloft, you have to create the right elements for it all to work. Because odds are your characters may not survive very long, but the fact that you can use the mists to travel anywhere or have the mist take you anywhere creates endless possibilities for adventures. Like having a domain of dread that's literally just a one really big castle, like Castle Ravenloft, but then again, Strahd controls all of Barovia. Or you could create, a haunted town. You could do all sorts of really crazy and cool things with this. And I think horror fantasy can be some of the most engaging because it's different than, any other type, because you're fighting it with swords and shields as opposed to machine guns and having modern technology to help you. I just think there's a lot of interesting stuff here. And Ravenloft has a history that may or may not be true. And that's something you can create out of whole cloth if you want. The rules in the book more or less encourage you. Like, sometimes the citizens don't remember how they got here or stuff like that. There's just a lot of cool storytelling possibilities here. So Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, I absolutely recommend. If you want to create long-running horror type games in the Ravenloft setting, having this and Curse of Strahd invaluable tools. If you're a more casual DM and you want to introduce some scary into your games, I'm also going to recommend this book too. There's just some good advice in here, plus some of the new monsters are neat. And just the idea of maybe for one night your characters get dragged into Ravenloft. Was it a dream? Was it not? You don't know, but you woke up with scars. So who's to say? So Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft from Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition gets a scary thumbs up from us here at This Week in Geek.
Hey man, this don't feel right. My donkey senses are tingling all over.
All right, guys. Well, we are done here at This Week in Geek. And big thanks to Ken for coming back on the show. Ken will be joining us next week as well as we begin to wrap up the month of October.
August.
2021 just fucking end already. This month has seemed like it's weird. The month started off slow and kind of shitty. Now it won't stop. When I did all the reviews for Alex's show, that was like 3 days worth of work and just constant editing, watching, editing, reviewing, reading, or doing whatever. I don't even remember half of what I did. It's a blur. I got more stuff in today for review. In fact, just before the show started, I got 2 new books. I got Galaxy Quest, The Inside Story, which is a fantastic movie. And this, I actually got the wrong book. I actually have to write these guys. But it's Star Trek Delta Quadrant, from Ladosian to Zal Shipyards, the Encyclopedia of Star Trek Starships. One of my friends on the show, Aaron Paulier, develops starships for the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game. So I might have to get some of his thoughts on this. Coming up on the show, on the site this week, or I know I'm recording, because I've recorded a bunch of Future Imperfects and Loose Cannons. I'm waiting for Alex to post them. So they're recorded. I've got a bunch. We just did Plan 9 and we just did Plan 9 and From Outer Space and Ed Wood. This week we're going to be talking about the Pee Wee Herman movies, the 3 of them, with probably a little bit of mention of Pee Wee's Playhouse. And then for Future Imperfect, we're going to be talking about space missions. I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect Limited Edition. If you're on my Twitter, you know this to be a fact. And I just want to talk about things that are interesting in space, like space exploration on like other planets, or what makes a gas giant a gas giant. What's an ice giant? stuff like that. These are the questions I want to ask Aaron, who's an actual scientist. Because, yeah, it's fun to talk about this sort of thing and sort of the future of where are we going to go. My sister Katie, she's writing her master's thesis on colonization in space and the rights issues that will inevitably come up at some point. So a little bit of Gundam sprinkled in there. So lot of cool stuff coming up in the next little bit in terms of that. For reviews right now, I have a bunch of stuff from Free League Publishing, their PR person over there, and I'm just going to get personal for a moment, is one of the nicest people I have ever met in this industry, hands down. This person has checked in on me constantly while I was sick. They would say, hey, you know what? Don't worry. Play our games, read them, have fun, do what you can. And I am humbled just how friendly they are. And then another company who's been really good to me is Gale Force 9, and me and Liam are going to be playing a couple of their board games over the next couple of weeks to give you a sort of, some of you are going back to school, and hey, maybe you want to gather around, meet some new friends, and play in your dorms or play with your resident advisors. So we're looking forward to that. So we should have a couple of those board games. Two of them are D&D themed. One is Doctor Who themed. So we're going to talk about those in a little bit. I'm trying to think of what else. Me and Alex are planning on recording a summer commentary, which will be Ernest Goes to Camp, which should be a lot of fun. That movie came out in 1987, and Jim Varney, we miss you every day. In fact, I was saying this to Alex earlier this week when I was talking with him. It's sad, obviously, that Jim Varney has passed away, but if I could have made a movie with Jim Varney now, I would have a Jim Varney, John Cena movie. Because John Cena is slowly turning into Ernest. If there are certain facial expressions John Cena does where he looks like Jim Varney. And maybe that's the range of John Cena for all I know. But I would love to...
He's very... he has that weird charisma. It's not rock charisma. It's... like he can lead a comedy, but when it comes to drama, sometimes he falls flat on his face.
The movie I wish more people had seen, because it's the movie that really turned the corner for me and John Cena. And it's a movie called, I think it's called Playing with Fire.
I would recommend checking out Blockers.
Yes, that's another great movie of his.
And by the way, I didn't even realize it until this week. The same director of that is doing that Cinderella jukebox musical that's going to be on Amazon in a couple weeks.
Okay, that's weird.
Same director.
Huh. Who knows? So yeah, it's I very much enjoy John Cena. You're right. He's not rock charisma, but he's something else. And if his performance in the Suicide Squad is any indication, the Peacemaker series should be quite awesome. Oh yeah, speaking of Suicide Squad, me and JT are going to be recording a new episode of TWIG Sunday Funnies on the Suicide Squad. Now, we did record one on Disney Plus, Loki and Black Widow. Again, it's edited. We're just waiting for it to come out. So sit tight, folks. And you should see some new stuff coming out on the site because, like I said, Alex has been taking a month off. I'm not going to push him for stuff. Let him be. Let the producer be. So, however, for the end of year, the sprint begins because Wednesday is, you know what? I used to look forward to covering video games. And then the pandemic hit, and then there seemed to be something every other week. Last year, I hated with a flaming passion.
At least this year hasn't been so horrendous.
Yeah, this year hasn't been so bad, but I'd like to know what the hell are you going to show off? Because so many games have been delayed.
Jeff already put out a statement this morning for his Gamescom opening night, which is what you were alluding to on Wednesday. They are going to be talking about the Saints Row reboot, which has been officially confirmed.
Yep.
And they are also going to be talking, let's see, it's a Saints Row reboot.
My guess is we'll see something from the Grand Theft Auto remasters.
Let's see. Let me just...
That'll be a surprise, though. Or they'll do that for Game Awards, but it's supposed to come out in October from what I've heard.
It is a... Jeff has the exclusive gameplay demo for Vanguard.
Which that'll be cool. Looking forward to that.
He has confirmed Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, the infinitely delayed Lego game for some particular reason. That's probably going to get a fall release. Because now that the Warner Brothers Discovery deal is done, everything is now not up in the air.
Yeah.
On that. So that will probably get dated for the fall. And then much more.
So yeah,
and then also it was confirmed that we're going to see more gameplay for the TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
That'll be good stuff. I know that'll be something we'll be covering later on this year. So Alex wanted me to ask you, Ken, might as well just do it live here on the spot. You're in for a Gamescom discussion?
Oh, of course.
All right, then. So look forward to that later on this week. Plus, I have recorded stuff with Nerd to the Third Power. I have come back. We'll be talking about some cool stuff on there coming up rather soon. So anyway, guys, again, thank you for sticking with us. We always appreciate it. So please be sure to check out my reviews from the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. I think this is essential if you want to become a dark fantasy GM with a D&D flair, and Ravenloft is one of the best settings around if you can really capture that Call of Cthulhu, body horror, or whatever scary stuff you want to put in your game. I think it's essential. Plus, the Marines book, I've been looking forward to this for years. If you're a lore nut, it's awesome. The Canadian forces still exist in the future. I'm so happy for that. So yeah. So anyway, guys, until next time for This Week in Geek, we have been
Ken from This Anime Podcast.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying be excellent to each other. And if you haven't done so already, get vaccinated, wear a mask, be safe, and just be a good person. So we'll catch you guys again next time, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.